What's going on, guys? JPP Duel here. Hope you guys are enjoying your Thursday. And for today's gameplay, we have an Adventures Pranks versus a Sword Soul matchup, with my opponent playing Sword Soul going first. Now, first of all, before the replay begins and I do the whole commentary, I would like to apologize about not being able to stream for almost a week now, and my YouTube videos have been out of whack as well. Usually I do one upload a day, but I have been missing a couple days in the middle. As you guys know, my schedule has been completely out of line. I am finally now managing to make it go back to my normal schedule, and finally I will be able to stream starting tomorrow, and on the weekends I will be doing an 8-hour streaming session. So if you guys are interested, you guys can catch me on twitch.tv/jpbduel. And with that being said, let's get on today's replay. Now, as you guys know, in today's meta, everyone is spamming runics left and right. So this is one of my other replays that I had where I actually ran into a pure Sword Soul matchup, and this guy did not know how to play Sword Soul at all, okay? So let's get on with today's replay. My opponent starts off his turn by activating a Pot of Desires. Usually, Sword Soul players are now afraid of activating Pot of Desires. If they have the Long John in their hand, they don't care much for it. But if they don't have the Long John and the Pot of Desires banishes out both Long Johns, they are kinda stuck in a little bit of a rut of a play. So this guy just does it anyways, and then normals out Moye from his hand. Moye shows me he has Emergence in his hand. Okay, gets the token. Now in my hand, I have nothing I can use to interact with my opponent's combos so far. I mean, we could special out the Griffin, but there's no point in that. We could DD Crow out the Moye, no point in that either. So basically a dead hand at this point, right? So he gets the Moye activation, draws a card, Grandmaster was searching for a card. So you guys know, okay? With the Moye, he showed me he had Emergence in his hand, right? Moye showed Emergence, and then he searched for a Long John with his Grandmaster. So we know for a fact that this guy does have something in his hand that he can pitch to get the Long John on the field to go into a level 10 Synchro. Could go into Barone, could go into Sinister Sovereign, could go into the normal Sovereign, right? Could have done any of that. But watch what happens. He sets down a card, passes his turn over. Tell me this guy's not the worst Sword Soul player you have ever seen. Ever. Like, what could he possibly have in his hand that he's setting up the field this way and just passing his turn? Now, let's assume. So we know two cards in his hand, right? We know one card is Emergence, one card is the Long Yuan. He has 4 other cards in his hand. Now, if he had Protos, he could have used Protos if he had the whole Long John play going on. If he has hand traps, he would have used hand trap to hand trap me to oblivion on my turn. Let's see how he interacts. Again, if he was bricked, he could have searched for a Blackout, right? Blackout could have been searched instead of Long John if he was not going to use the Long John anyways. No, did not search for the Blackout either. And you guys will see what I mean when I go through my turn. So on my turn, I draw into a Skill Drain. Not that great card, but that's okay. So I'm gonna start my turn off by activating the Faithful Adventure to search for the Enchantress. The reason for doing that, again, even if you don't have the Griffin in your hand, you want to do it anyways because sometimes it does bait out Ash Blossom, or it could bait out Maxi on the special summon, so that way you don't have to commit your Meowmoo to the play, okay? Just to bait out stuff. So we get the Enchantress search off. I'm going to pitch out the Enchantress. I'm going to banish out the Enchantress. Once again, if this card is not a Blackout and a Call by the Grave, right? What some people like to do, if they don't have Ash Blossom, is off of the play of the Faithful Adventure search into the Enchantress, into the pitch of the Enchantress, they will Call by the Grave out the Enchantress, so that way you cannot banish it from the graveyard to get the right in your hand. So sometimes it's a good way to bait out Call by the Grave as well, right? So with that, he ashes my Enchantress. I'm okay with that. It ate up the opponent's Ash Blossom, right? So I'm gonna chain my Griffin to that card's activation so my Griffin can't special itself on the field. I was hoping that in case he had a Maxi in his hand, he would have chained his Maxi to my Griffin's activation, right? Did not have Maxi apparently. So he has 3 cards in his hand left that we have no idea what they are. No idea at all. So Enchantress is negated, that's okay. So on the summon of a monster, that's going to trigger out the Fateful Adventure to get us searching for our Draco back. Now the reason to add the Draco back into my hand right now is because I needed a card for the pitch of the Roxys. So in case I cannot kill my opponent this turn itself, I will have a follow-up play next turn with my Skill Drain. I did not want to banish out any of these cards. DD Crow is pretty important. Skill Drain, again, kills over SWORDSOUL players, so Instant Fusion combo extension and Roxy's combo starter. Only logical solution was a Draco back pitch for the Roxys. I'm going to normal out my Roxys, go into my Miamu, activate Roxys, and as I told you guys before, banish out the Draco back. Draw into an anti-spell Fragrance. Yes, I did go back to, you know, my floodgates of anti-spell because once again, Runic is everywhere, okay? So with that, we get Doodly-Doo. We're going to activate the Fansies in the grave, chain block with our Doodly-Doo. I mean, to be honest, it doesn't matter because the opponent blew his Ash Blossom anyways. So even if we activate and chain block with our Fansies on our Doodly-Doo, we cannot be ashed this turn regardless. Now, one misplay I made right here is that if you look at the opponent's graveyard, he currently has Desires and Ash. He had the Moye in the graveyard, which he will banish with the Grandmaster to negate out my Doodly-Doo search for the Pandemonium. If I was a really good player, I should have anticipated this, and I should have preemptively DD Crow'd out the Moye from the graveyard to make the Grandmaster be unable to activate the effect of negating a face-up monster on the field, because it needs a SWORDSOUL or a Worm card in the graveyard for a banishment pile. As I told you guys, the only SWORDSOUL or Worm type card the opponent had in the graveyard was the Moye, and if I did DD Crow out the Moye, Grandmaster would have been a dead card on the field, and I would probably have been able to kill him this turn itself. But that's okay, mistakes happen, we move on. With that, Doodly-Doo gets negated. I'm okay with that. The Fansies will pitch out my Pranks to the graveyard. We get a special summon. We're going to go off into our second copy of Doodly-Doo. And with that, we're going to tribute out the Doodly-Doo and fish out the Pranks that we pitch off of my Fansies, add it to my hand, along with another name from the graveyard into my hand. We're going to activate Pranks. You guys already know the Pranks combo. I don't even know why I'm commentating the Pranks combo. I guess it's been a while for me. So we go off into our Bow Wow. Now, since we do have Instant Fusion in our hand, I was trying to go for an OTK this turn itself, but again, if you guys think about this, he has 3 cards in his hand that we do not know what they are, and if he did not pull off full combo, then most likely they are hand traps, is what most people would assume, okay? They're most likely hand traps. So Nib, Ash Blossom, Maxi, if he had it, he would have used it. Imperm, he cannot use. If he had Call By or Imperm, he would have set it down, so I don't know what he was thinking. But I was worried about Nib, basically. So, Nib takes away the whole field, but the thing is, you can use Instant Fusion to play around Nib. If your opponent nibs you, you just use Instant Fusion, you go into Rocket Ride, you tribute your Rocket Ride, and whichever cards were tributed for the nib, you pull those 2 cards out from the graveyard, put them on the field, and you continue on with your combo, or you end your turn and go into your Butler on your opponent's turn. It's pretty simple stuff, right? So at this point I was hesitating. Do I want to go for the lethal, or do I say he has nib in his hand and end my turn, so that way if he has it, he throws it in my face, and then I could use Instant Fusion to salvage out the situation and go into Butler on my opponent's turn. I had 2 options. My chat goaded me into making the greedy play, so I made the greedy play. I went for almost lethaling my opponent this turn itself. I go into my Unicorn, and Unicorn has to bounce out this card right here. I do not know what that card is. He never flipped it over, and I was worried about it. So with that, we pitch out the DD Crow, bounce that card. Then we use Instant Fusion into Rocket Ride. Rocket Ride can tribute itself and target 2 cards, 2 different prank kits named cards in the graveyard, put them on the field. So I go for Bow Wow and Doodly Doo, link off by Doodly Doo plus the Nightmare into Access Code. Access Code will pop the Grandmaster, and then we go into battle. Get the whack for 5.3, get the whack for the Griffin. Now once again, I missed lethal right there, okay? So the lethal right there was I had to use out the Bow Wow plus the Doodly Doo to go into Access Code, and Access Code would come on the field with 4.3k attack, so that would be 4.3, then 2.2 on the Unicorn, which would have been 6.5, and then 2 more would have been 7.5 exact, right? I mean 8.5, sorry. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.5 on the field. That would have killed my opponent, but I missed the lethal right there. But that's okay. We have enough counters in our hand. So with that, we use the Access Code plus the Griffin into Predaplan Verte. Predaplan Verte will go into our Butler. So Butler comes in the field. So this way, we put our opponent down to 200 life points. We get our Butler on the field, and we will even have our Bow Wow Bark protection on the field for the Butler on the opponent's turn. With that, we set down Skill Drain and Anti-Spell Fragrance, activate Pranks, recycle 3 cards, even top deck a Maxi, which is pretty insane. Okay, the game is like, bro, you know what? The opponent misplayed big time. I will give you everything you need in your hand to just mess with your opponent and make him rage quit Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. That's what the game told me. So with that, I activate my anti-spell, and once it goes through, we Maxi, to which he responds with another Ash. So apparently he was bricked on 2 or 3 Ash Blossoms, I guess. Okay, with that we activate Bow Wow, we get 2 of our cards, so that way our Butler becomes immune to card destruction effects. So we get our 2 cards in our hand, and the Maxi gets Ash Blossomed. I'm okay with that. The opponent's main phase, he puts Ecclesia. Ecclesia attributes itself as a special, puts Moye, to which I respond with my first Butler pop. I popped the opponent's field first because I wanted to get the Miyamu banished from my graveyard. Now keep in mind, guys, we have Thunder Dragon Fusion in the graveyard, so Thunder Dragon Fusion can activate to search us for our corridor, and that will allow us to recycle our Miyamu to go into our play again next turn, because we do have Pranket's combo starter cards in our hand. And I still had Skill Drain active on the field. So Skill Drain would have just completely shut my opponent down afterwards, and I would still have one more Butler pop on top. And seeing this, my opponent scoops. That's going to be it for today's gameplay, guys. If you guys do enjoy this kind of videos, please consider hitting the like button, subbing to my channel for more daily Pranket video uploads, and if you guys are interested in the live version of all of this, I do live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/jpbduel. Link along with my schedule and a link to my Discord will be in the video description stuff for you guys to check out. This is JPBDuel signing off for today. I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Peace!